Okay, so this is version 2 of replying to the feedback from CAQ, or the New Era CAQ website. So what I'm going to do here is just go through a test run, and it'll show you what occurs in the way that it operates. So we're just going to select this one to run, which is the feedback that Marilyn gave us first up. So that's a good one to do a test on. And we're ready to start this run, so we'll kick it off. And so a form has been filled out and it's come in, and the form program automatically sends through the information in the form to Google Sheets. And then this program then picks it up off Google Sheets and sends it to Claude, which is like a ChatGPT model. Then Claude replies to the message that was submitted. Then ChatGPT is going to do a summary of this, of the message that Jane or Marilyn sent to us, and then it will also summarize the reply that Claude made. So we've now got the original full message, the full reply. We've also got the summary of the original message and the summary of the reply. Now after that, it updates Google Sheets to include the full reply, because the Google Sheets is like the original raw database that is used in the back end. So it looks ugly because that's just dumping information into different columns, and then we're pulling it out, manipulating it, and then putting it in other particular places. And so at the moment it's updating Google Sheets for the reply. After it does that, it will then add it to Notion. I'll just bring up Notion and delete this one because that's the original. So then when the program updates the Notion database, which is doing now, we'll see it pop into existence in one tick. It'll come down the bottom because it's picking up the original date it was submitted, which was back in May. So in one tick this should pop up. Must be on island time. This usually doesn't take this long. It's because I've made a video it's doing that. But you can also click on here and see what each one's doing. It will get there eventually. I don't know why it's taking so long. There it is. So Jane has now popped in to existence, this one down the bottom. Jennifer put feedback in earlier today and got a reply, but this is the one that happened today. So inside it, the original message and the reply is recorded, and the summary is here that you can click on and you can get the summary. And then over here is the summary of the reply. And so all the information is then contained within this feedback database. Now I need to do this manually. This happens automatically when it's live, but something went wrong. No, it's back. I swear that the internet's tripped over itself tonight. Everything's running really slowly. So now what it's doing is it's going to create a subject line for the email, and then it will send the email off to Marilyn via Gmail. So it connects up to Gmail and automatically sends the email off. Now I think, yeah, we can get out of here and get into the workflows. And so this is the workflow that looks very similar to what we just saw, but I'll quickly run through. So if that's enough for you, you can stop watching now. If you're interested in like the little back end of it, I'll go through and explain that. So on the right here is the instructions, and on the left is like the heading, I guess you'd say. And so when you add things in, you can pick what you want to do, and you can do things to Google Docs and Google Drive, and then you just list the flow that you want to do, so to speak. And so the first thing we want to do is look for a new row in this form correspondence sheet. So you come in here and you are connected to your Google Sheets account, and then you click there and you can pick which sheets you want to use. And so I've got form correspondence, sent emails, and received emails. And so we want form correspondent. And then this gives you a preview just of the first row. And in the first row in our Google Sheets, it's just an identifier row. And then that's done. So all this is doing is looking for a new row that's been added in Google Sheets. And if a new row gets added, it grabs that the content in that new row and keeps it effectively in its memory. And then so the next thing we do is we say, hey Claude, we've got a new message that we need you to reply to. And so the thing it's replying to down here is we give it the name, which is the row and the name from the database up here, and then the message. And so all you do is you type in here name, colon, brackets, and this is just formatting so that you're telling the ChatGPT bot that you're giving it a name, and then the name is framed in the quotation marks. And then you just go down to data and you select your row, and then you get your name, and then it goes row name. And so that row name comes from the row up here, name, in row 2. And so it recognized that there was a new row 2. It grabbed all this data in here and stored it and labeled it as date, name, email, message, AI reply, etc. And so we can just then grab it over here, and then we say that was the name, and then we also had a message. I mean, AI might understand without the quotation marks and things, but I just like putting it in because I think it helps it understand. And then the output, we say here that it's going to output text, so you can tell it if to expect a number or any of these other systems, dates, times. You can phone numbers, emails, so you can tell it what it is you expect. And then you can name it as well. So we called it Claude to reply to message. And so that's that one. And then this makes a summary of the message. So we just did the same thing here. Up here we said, please make a summary. And then we click the message. We go, we wanted to get it from the row, and we got it from the message. And then we just let it do its job, because that was just that's actually like a particular summary block. And so it's pre-coded, I guess you'd say, to do summaries. So you can just drop it in and say summarize, and it will do that. And then we just did the same thing, but with a summary of the Claude message. So now we've got the original data, we've got a reply, and we've got 2 summaries. And we're like, well, now we need to send all those bits of information that extra information we've created off to places. And so the first place we're going to update is the Google Sheets database, and we're going to add in the field. So we add a field, and we've already got AI reply there, which is the field that we're looking to do. But if we delete it, we go add field, and we want to add in the AI reply. And so that's in the AI reply column. And then we come in here and click the little plus, which is select the data that's going into that AI reply field. And we want the model response, Claude reply to message, and then in it goes. So then it'll put that stored information into the AI reply section of the Google Sheets database. And then from there, it does the same thing effectively, except in the Notion database, but there's more to put in. And so this content up the top, so it adds a new object to the database. And then in here is the content. So in Notion, the content is what's in the page or in the database object when you open it up. So this is the content under here. So you can just add content to that. And then it's put in there, it's written original feedback, and then it's put the original message in. You can hover over it and see the example of what it is it's putting in there. And then it's said the AI reply is this, and it's included Claude's reply. And then it's also added in the email in the email column, the feedback name in that column, the date submitted, that AI has replied, and then it's put in the feedback summary that it made here, and it's put the reply summary that it's made in there. And so that's the Notion database that, so it said it's replied. We didn't do sentiment analysis on it. There's the summaries. Fantastic. And then the last thing it did is down here, because I gave people the option to enter feedback in the form but not put their email address in, we have to take that into account at this point. And we have two paths. And so the path A, I can actually rename these different things, I think. You could somewhere. Oh, there we go, path name. So we'll call this has email. And that's all I did up here, because when you first start them, it gives them tool names. And I think that once you do you put it in there, it makes it a lot easier to mind follow if you name what it is you're doing. And so we have has email, and then on path B, no other path is matching. So if it has an email, do this. If it doesn't, then go to path B, which is no email. So down here we got, did the original row have an email? If so, create a subject line. So it says here, make a subject line, and then there's the message that Claude made so that it knows what the content was to make the subject line from. It spits out the subject line down here in the output, subject line for email. Then we go into Gmail and we go to, so who's the email getting sent to? It's getting sent to the email from the data that it got up the top of Google Sheets. And then the subject line is the subject line we just made there. So we click on the plus and we get the model response subject line for email, and then it goes there. And then in the body, we want to put Claude's response. And so again, we click data, model response, Claude's reply to message, and then that goes in the email. We can, if we, for whatever reason, wanted to send an attachment, so it could be, I put like a whole heap of bikini photos together for a calendar and I want to send it off to people when they put a feedback form in, I can get it to send off an attachment. I can get it to label the email in Gmail. And so, yeah, that's from Go to Woe, the automation of getting in a feedback form and sending an automated reply to someone. So hopefully that just gives you an idea of through a basic automation, what's possible just by adding in different steps. And so if you can think up logically what you want to do with your data and where you want your data to go, instead of having to manually do all these things, you can get the computer to move the data in all its different places, and or get the AI to respond to things or analyze things. So another thing it can do is read an email and say, well, that's about association croquet. And so then it just tags that email as an association croquet one. And then you have another automation then that just looks for newly tagged emails that are tagged AC, and then it grabs it and forwards it on to the AC coordinator. So yeah, whatever you can imagine, you can automate effectively. And so the main part of the battle is figuring out what you want to automate, creating the flow for the automation in a mind map flowchart. And once you've got that, then it's a simple matter of creating it in this program. So that is version 2.0, and hopefully you were suitably entertained with this exceptionally dry bit of computer work flowing. Bye.